Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking an impartial, really detailed look at an AI design tool that's been making the rounds lately, called Link to Posters. Now, if you spent any time at all marketing a business, organizing events, or creating digital products, you already know that generating high-quality visual assets is just a constant hurdle. So we're going to strip away all the marketing hype today. We're going to use the actual sales materials, source documents, and independent review data to completely separate the pitch from the reality. Let's get into it.
So this brings us to the absolute core question we need to answer today. Can an AI actually design a finished, ready-to-use poster, or is this just another glorified prompt generator that leaves you doing, most of the heavy lifting? Because let's be real, the internet is completely flooded with AI tools promising the world, but they often just deliver a massive wall of text or some glitchy image that you definitely can't print. We want to know if this product actually delivers ready-to-use design files or if it's just more AI busywork.
Okay, here is our roadmap for today. 1. The blank canvas problem. 2. How the tool actually works. 3. Real posters and strict layouts. 4. Revealing the true cost. And 5. The pros, cons, and our final verdict.
Let's start with Section 1, the blank canvas problem, the struggle of formatting.
So this tool claims to solve that universal struggle of formatting. You absolutely know the pain point I'm talking about here. You have an event to fill or a brand new product to announce, you've got all the raw data, but the struggle is actually turning that into a properly formatted, correctly sized poster without just staring blankly at a screen for hours. The big promise here is that this custom GPT instantly turns any link, event page, or product into a finished, ready-to-post image with all the text already perfectly designed on it in under 3 minutes. They're heavily marketing this idea of no Canva headaches and zero guessing at print sizes. It's really positioned for people who just want a finished poster on the wall, not a masterclass in graphic design.
Now, you might be wondering, why can't I just use regular ChatGPT for this? Well, the source material actually makes a really fair distinction here. If you ask standard ChatGPT for a poster, you typically just get a text description of what a poster might look like, or maybe a prompt to use in some other software, or you get a single image with terribly misspelled text that runs right off the edges. Link to Posters attempts to solve this with a strictly fixed workflow. It actually uses structured layout recipes and generates separate, distinct files for every single size you need, rather than just squashing one design into a bunch of different shapes.
Moving on to Section 2, how the tool actually works, the 3-question setup.
Okay, so how do you actually get from a simple web link to a finished poster? The system forces what they call a 3-question setup. Step 1, you pick where the poster's going and what size it needs to be. Think an Instagram story, an A4 print, or digital signage. Step 2, you pick the actual poster type. This isn't just a generic template. You have to specify if it's an event, a promo, a hiring notice, or maybe a restaurant menu. And then Step 3, you choose your visual style, like clean modern, dark premium, or vintage print. Once you've answered those 3 quick questions, you just paste your source link and the AI takes over from there.
So what do you actually get back after all that? The output is highly structured. First, you receive a source brief. This basically extracts the real, concrete details from your link, the dates, the times, the prices. Then you get the finished poster images delivered as completely separate files for every size you requested. On top of that, you get usage notes, which include a matching social media caption. But honestly, perhaps the most practical feature is that it provides the exact print specifications. We're talking the precise DPI, the bleed, and the safe margins that you need to confidently send that file straight to a professional printer without it getting rejected.
Section 3, real posters, strict layouts, visual proof.
The independent review data highlights that the product's claims are highly verifiable, so let's actually look at the layouts it generates. And this brilliantly illustrates what it can do. We've got an event promotion for a night market, formatted beautifully for social media or a digital billboard. Contrasting that is a completely different use case, a diner's weekend specials menu board. The layouts are fundamentally different from one another, which proves that the AI is using specific structural recipes for different jobs, rather than just lazily overlaying text onto a single generic background template.
Let's look at another comparison to really drive this home. Here we have a bold, bright barista hiring poster contrasted with a clean, super minimal announcement for a library's digital skills workshop. Again, just notice how the hierarchy of information shifts entirely depending on the goal. The hiring poster is screaming the job and the perks, while the workshop poster clearly and cleanly structures the when, where, bring, cost, and register details so they are perfectly readable at just a glance.
Crucially, the AI handles facts on those posters with a very strict anti-hallucination rule.
It is told never invent a price, a date, or an address that was not in your source. If a detail isn't in your link, it explicitly flags it as not stated in source instead of just guessing and making something up. This is a massive safety feature, right? Because printing 500 copies of a beautifully designed poster with the completely wrong date or price is a very, very expensive mistake to make.
Which brings us to Section 4, revealing the true cost, the hidden catch.
Okay, this is where we need to be incredibly objective and look closely at the fine print. While the marketing is undeniably compelling, there is a hidden catch you absolutely need to be aware of. Let's start with the front-end price. On the Warrior Plus marketplace, the tool uses a dime sale model starting at an incredibly low $9.95, which eventually rises to $37. Now, what makes this entry price sound so appealing is that it includes full private label rights, or PLR. That means you aren't just buying the tool to use for yourself, you're actually buying the rights to edit it, rebrand it, and sell it as your own product while keeping 100% of the profits. I mean, it sounds like an absolute steal, right?
But here is the reality check. The independent review we sourced makes this part very clear. There is a hard, hidden requirement here. To actually run this custom GPT and generate these finished images in the first place, you must have an active, paid ChatGPT subscription. The tool itself relies entirely on OpenAI's image generation capabilities. So this is definitely not just a one-time $10 purchase. You absolutely must budget for an ongoing monthly AI subscription on top of it.
Now, what's really interesting about this setup is that behind that $9.95 entry price sits a massive 8-tier upsell sequence. It starts somewhat logically. OTO 1 or One-Time Offer 1 upgrades your license from private label rights to master resale rights, meaning your customers can also resell the tool. But then it escalates into these massive bundles of other GPTs for graphics, content, and courses, all the way up to a 30 GPT business in a box package for $97.
When you add up the front-end product, every single one of those 8 upsell tiers, and all the associated order bumps, the maximum potential cost if a buyer navigates through and impulsively purchases every single offer in the funnel is a staggering $355.95. It's a classic tripwire marketing funnel. They lure you in with a high-value, super low-cost entry and then systematically offer escalating business bundles.
Section 5, pros, cons, and verdict, the final review.
So, taking all of this into account, the really impressive outputs, the strict rules, the hidden subscription requirement, and that massive upsell funnel, the independent review gave it a solid 4.1 out of 5. Neutrally looking at the breakdown, the pros are definitely strong. The outputs are completely verifiable, and they actually deliver on the promise of separate, correctly sized files. That anti-hallucination rule targeting dates and prices is an excellent, excellent safety feature. It also thoughtfully includes an offline prompt editor that you can use without ChatGPT. However, the cons are pretty significant. That paid ChatGPT account is a hard, unavoidable requirement. Furthermore, the tool is strictly restricted to posters. If you want infographics or charts, you are entirely out of luck. And finally, the independent review noted there is no explicit refund policy visibly stated on the main sales page, which is for sure something a buyer needs to be cautious of.
To give you a highly practical takeaway today, here is the ultimate decision matrix based on all the source data. Buy it if you regularly need posters formatted for multiple social and print sizes, you just hate messing with formatting templates, and most importantly, you already have a paid ChatGPT plan. But you should skip it if you are expecting a completely free standalone AI tool, you need broad graphic design capabilities beyond just posters, or if the lack of a clearly stated guaranteed refund policy makes you uncomfortable.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final thought to really chew on. Link to posters proves that putting tight, highly specific constraints on AI actually yields much better, far more practical results. But it really begs the question. As these specialized AI overlay tools become more and more common, is the convenience of a fixed workflow actually worth locking yourself into a permanent, ongoing monthly subscription cost to OpenAI just to run them? Think about it. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. Keep learning and always keep